Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy SoSo, in case you ain't know so, and welcome back to another dope episode of Sports with SoSo. Coming to you live, y'all. This week, it's time for baseball as Marlins get ready for opening day, which your boy's gonna be in the building, and we're breaking down the Heat's recent struggles. It's time to take a ride, y'all. Let's go! They say that good things come to those who wait. So if you waited for the podcast to drop, good for you. This shit's gonna be fire.
I didn't know where you were going with that, but
boom, you like that?
I like the way you just started that.
I gotta keep the show on the toes, like.
Keep me on my toes, sheesh.
You know what I'm saying?
What it do?
How are you, my bro?
How's it going?
It's good to see you again.
Likewise.
Been a while. It's been a minute. You know, the last time we linked up, we had that nice backdrop. We had Jaime on the podcast, which was dope. Shout out to Jaime, man. Shout out to The Asylum. What a dope movie. Can't wait to see it at the Miami Film Festival, which is going to be cool. And yes, and a lot really has changed since the last time we recorded, right? Because two things, right? Nobody was paying attention to baseball, and now all of a sudden everybody's paying attention to baseball because of the Ohtani thing and the gambling thing, right? Whether or not his translator is taking the fall, and it's like crazy, right? Oh, I didn't know I can't gamble. Like, okay, sure you did it. Yeah. But now that baseball's on the scene, we have opening day here, right? We saw Jazz come out on the pivot, say a couple of things about the past couple of seasons here on the Marlins and shit. So there's like a lot more focus on baseball, especially now to start the season, right? When all the other sports are having other things happening, for it to kind of like be in the front of the news. You know what I mean? And then I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign, right? But it does mean that baseball is back, right? And now we have something else to talk about. We saw a couple of things change in the NFL world, right? Which came out of nowhere, some more signings and stuff like that. What else happened?
Well, the Dolphins had a meeting with a
very high
profile, highly touted wide receiver, a Super Bowl champion wide receiver.
Yes, sir.
One Odell Beckham Jr. At this moment. I don't know. I don't have any update. I know they made him an offer.
Yeah.
He hasn't accepted yet. I don't think so. Either one of two things. Either he is not happy with it and he's going to pass, or he's still fielding other offers. So, I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but I would definitely take an Odell Beckham Jr. on our squad right now.
For sure.
To be our third wide receiver.
For sure. And look, you know, the Dolphins did make the offer, right? Nobody really know what the details were yet. Mike McDaniel confirmed it at the coaches meeting, which saw a couple of rule changes be announced as well. And when it comes to the Dolphins and adding talent, I think that we still need to add talent in the wide receiver position or the department for two reasons, right? Number one, we know Tyreek's not going to play football here forever. And we also know that Jalen Waddle's contract is coming up after that. And after that is a big drop off, right, in that department. And as far as who's producing or who can produce.
Right.
So we're going to have to address that at some point, whether it's a free agent signing, Tyler Boyd is still out there. Like, there are a couple of possibilities. But it's obviously, noteworthy that they did make him an offer.
Yeah.
And it's also noteworthy that he didn't accept it off right and is still fielding offers.
Yeah, but we still have Tyreek, for a couple of years. I know he's not going to be around forever, but we still have him, on a good contract for a few more years. Jalen Waddle, we will have to make a decision. And I think we are going to extend that contract. I think that's one we are going to be willing to pay market price for at that point.
Kind of have to.
I mean, just what we've seen so far from the kid, in his short career so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, somebody like OBJ, somebody that could come in for a year, let's say, you know what I mean? Just a 1 year contract, pay you, a couple $1 million just so you can come in with already an elite group where you don't have to do the load of the work, but we can use your presence and, your clutch factor. I mean, I think that's will be what he can still bring to the table. Is make that big catch, that everybody has seen him make time and time again. And with, a guy passing it like Tua, they could do some real damage.
The only thing that you have to consider when it comes to OBJ, right, is like, how good is he going to feel being in the third wide receiver role without getting the amount of production?
I think he's been doing it though. I think he did it now recently with the Ravens, but
it wasn't great.
The number one. It wasn't great, but that's a whole different scheme because Lamar is going to run the ball and take off. He has that option. But and then elsewhere he wasn't the first. When he was with the Rams, was it?
He was still like a number 2 receiver.
Right, he was with the Rams, right? That was the Super Bowl he won.
Super Bowl.
So he was second to Cooper Kupp, and I think they might have still had like Robert Woods or something like that.
Yeah.
So, he's been dwindling down away from that wide receiver 1 role. I think he gets that. His body's not going to be available for 18 games or 17 games or whatever. But again, that'd be something interesting, just another high profile signing and maybe a cost effective price. But another thing you mentioned was the rule changes in the NFL.
Yeah.
One of the big ones that I'm kind of a little pissed off about, I know a lot of NFL fans are a little upset about, is the change to the hip drop tackle.
Yeah. It's kind of 50-50 for me, right? Because we saw Tyreek Hill get hurt on a tackle like that, and that shit killed his season personally. Right. And it obviously did something for us not having him for a couple of games, right? Or not having him at 100% like he was balling up until that point. I know that the NFL is going to continue to try to make the game safer and safer and safer. There's no doubt about that. We saw the kickoff change as well, right? It's still going to be returned, right? And there's still going to be a kickoff, but the alignment is much different. I think that when it comes to the hip tackle thing, they have to protect the players. The players may not want to protect themselves, right? And make the game still as tough, man, as it is. Do I love it? No. Does it make sense in their eyes? For sure. For sure.
I don't agree with it, mainly because of the fact that it's so subjective, any one of those situations, those bang bang plays, where it could be a game deciding bullshit penalty on a tackle, like a clean open field tackle that a guy makes one-on-one. It's just where momentum takes you as you're breaking down and you're coming around. I don't like that decision, because then it just keeps going into the narrative that the NFL is becoming the no fun league, more and more. That they're just eventually they're going to drop the pads and wearing flags. It's going to be 365. Shout out to Steven 365. Nothing wrong with that product, but it's
not NFL football. It
seems like where it's heading, bro, because I understand things like the defensive receiver, the change they've made there. I understand the whole leading with the crown of the helmet and things for around concussions and stuff like that. On the kickoff, because of the fact that it's, so much starting, depth that they're all the way back there and taking it back, it can create more harm, statistically speaking. I get all those arguments, man, but this one just seems like one that they should have stayed away from.
Maybe, but it was only a matter of time before there was multiple high-profile athletes in their game, right, that are marketed by the NFL that get hurt on plays like this. That kind of kills it for them. I
know Pollo's not going to agree with this take. Shout out to DP, but I feel like they should vote on passing a vote to change all the fields in the NFL to be one consistent material, turf, not artificial. Real turf.
I hear you, but that's already, you're asking a lot, because that's not an NFL decision, right? That's an owner by owner decision. And that's the reason why, they have that board and they vote on shit, and a lot of things don't get passed, right? And we see the difference in a stadium, let's say from Atlanta, right? Which has a bunch of high profile stuff and all these things, cool, super badass stadium. And
brand new stadium too.
Yeah, but compare it to the one in LA, right? I kind of like the one in Atlanta. It's different. It's not as a spectacle as the one that's in LA for the Rams now, but they're both brand new. You know what I mean? They offer different things. They look different. They play different. The way the fans are around the stadium is different, right? So that's why I say each owner at the end of the day is gonna do whatever the fuck they want to do in their own stadium, and they're gonna be hard pressed to hear 31 other guys tell them, nah, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this. I don't know. I just think that the NFL is always going to try to do this, dog. You know what I mean? They're going to try to make the game safer when they see a lot of certain injuries happen, Yeah. And I think that is they're still keeping the core of NFL football still the same. That really hasn't changed, right?
Yeah, sure. Obviously, they're going to keep the core. They're not going to do anything too drastic to obviously lose viewership, but little by little, man, every year it's like something else. There's a new thing. And at first, it kind of catches on, takes time for the referees to kind of learn how to call it right. But then we always see some shit, man. The tuck rule, the Des Bryant situation, what's a catch to the ground. you know,
But
like
you know
all
what?
this shit.
In my opinion, the NFL is doing that to themselves, and they're putting the emphasis on their ability to teach their refs how to ref the game, right? Mm-hmm. Because imagine, dog, it's a hard job for the ref to get everything right. It's a hard job, dog, and guess what? They're humans. And then what are we talking about? We're gonna switch it to AI and shit like that? Like, nah, you're not gonna want that, right?
I definitely don't want that.
You need that human element, and that's part of it. That's all it is.
Yeah,
you know,
bro. But it's crazy. I'm here bitching and moaning, and we still got like 6 months before NFL football. Yeah, and I can't wait.
No, for sure. And we got the draft coming up. You know what I mean? We got the draft coming up. We're gonna do a little OnlyFans special for that. And obviously the NFL never closes, right? And I think that we'll still, between now and when the draft starts, for sure, I think we're going to see 2 more signings. At least. I think so. At least 2 more signings.
No, probably more than that, so to be honest. You know,
I'm saying,
I think we're going to sign a few more guys.
Big signings.
Before the... big signings. That category.
Yeah, in that category.
Yeah, we got to keep adding depth, bro. There's no way we can succeed in August and all the way through. January.
But I'm done being off-season champs too. So
we got to win the regular season here.
Yeah, that's it. Let's jump into the Marlins, man, and opening day and their regular season that's coming up.
You like my new hat?
I do like your new hat. It's badass, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Absolutely.
I like the old logo.
It's a classic.
I saw this come up and I was like, I got to get that for the Marlins.
And I'm glad that they went back to wearing it more often and shit like that, you know, like every Friday and stuff. Like, I think that thing is definitely cool, man. I don't know, man. I really do have a lot of investment here on how the Marlins are going to turn out. You know what I'm saying? Because for me personally, being a Marlins fan, I think that these guys have things that can set them up for success, right? And if they do it well, they'll be able to get back to the playoffs. But there's a lot of questions surrounding this team, man. And the biggest one, or the biggest issue that I see for this team this season, is consistent pitching. You know, last year it was, even with Sandy being up and down, right? We had a lot of guys step up, right, and have really good seasons for themselves, right? Not necessarily Cy Young winner seasons, but they pitched well and they won a bunch of games for us, and they allowed the Marlins to compete, right? Which was a big thing for us. Make it entertaining so I can watch you guys, so I can keep up with you guys, so we can talk about you on the podcast, and we can go and check out the games on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or whatever. I think that this year is going to be harder, though, because they're going to struggle mightily, in my opinion, when it comes to pitching. We all know that Sandy's out for the year, right? He had his surgery, which he needed to get anyways, because there was definitely something wrong with him, right? And I think that not having Sandy, right, like knowing for sure that Sandy's not coming back this year, that they're not going to be able to do anything, right, with him there on the mound, they have to have the rest of the staff step up. Now, Yuri Perez is starting the season on the 15-day DL. He had elbow inflammation, and you know he had a really good outing before spring training is kind of like wrapping up. And they kind of just kept him out to make sure that he comes back and starts the season healthy, because he's going to be our main pitcher. And
Yuri is?
Yeah, and he's a great pitcher, right?
Right.
The kid has skills.
He played amazing last year, but no Sandy, no Yuri. Sixto still not there. That leaves one guy to open up for us on opening day.
Yeah, Luzardo. And
how do you feel about that? If something that sigh was like a
because yeah, and I like Luzardo, dog, because like I said, he's one of those guys that I was mentioning, right, that pitched above or batted above his average, right, or pitched above his average. His main thing was his main thing was that when he stepped in, he knew that he wasn't replacing Sandy. He wasn't trying to do what Yuri was doing. He was coming in to just be himself, pitch his 5.5 innings, and make sure that we're not giving him crazy runs. And he did his job. He pitched really well last year, above his weight.
10-10 last year with a 3.63 ERA.
Awesome. In my opinion, for a guy who's your third, fourth pitcher, realistically, he's your third, fourth pitcher.
I would rather see one more win on there just to feel a little bit better.
Just to get the over 500.
That coin flip is going to be more in my favor.
Truth be told, some of that wasn't on him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Some of that wasn't on him. And there were a lot of games where it was a 2-run game or something like that. And we know that last year that the Marlins statistically had the most games played with, where the game was decided by less than 3 runs. The average, I think, came out to like 2.4. That's really a lot of close games, right? That they're won or lost in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning, and by that time, more often than not, our starters are not in the game, right? Unless it's Sandy, unless it's Yuri, or somebody's pitching a complete masterpiece, right? And you have to keep them in. That's why I think that, Luzardo can come in and do his piece, right? And be the third guy, the second guy in the rotation, and say, hey, here's the change of pace. You have these really dominant pitchers, and here's this change of pace. And I like that. I like what he brings to the table for the Marlins. But obviously, we're going to rely on Yuri Perez. How much can we ride this kid?
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's
exactly the thing. And
how much can we ride him?
And then last year we had that weird stretch where he was playing well, and then we sent him down to bring back up.
So weird to fucking save his fucking arbitration rights.
I forgot who it was, and
so dumb.
Yeah,
and even still,
he came back, it wasn't the same pitcher. So hopefully he can catch that same groove he had last year earlier.
Yeah, and he had a great spring training, dog. He really did. I personally don't put too much stock into spring training because the guys are just working on stuff, right? If you ever watch the movie Major League, you know damn well those guys are not going hard in spring training. They're literally working on things. But yeah, I think that question mark of pitching is going to be the biggest thing. It's going to be the biggest thing for the Marlins this year. And if they can get that right, or at least keep that at 500 or like right around above 500, right? Then they'll have a real good shot of repeating what they did last year and putting up a good season.
Which, speaking of last year, we did some good stuff. We earned a wild card spot last year. We didn't make it too deep in the playoffs, but we managed to have a pretty good season. We fought, towards the end there. And I think it was attributed to Skip Schumacher.
Yeah, coach of the year.
So the question is, do we think he's going to have a sophomore slump or some sort of regression?
And in baseball, that's very realistic, right?
I know it
can happen players, more often than not.
Does it happen with coaches too? And can it happen?
I think so, because every year is different, right? Every year is different. And he came into year one, no pressure, right? No real expectations or objectives to hit. It was just, hey, bring this team together. Bring this team together, see what talent we have, and see if you can put a decent roster together. I guarantee you, there was no talk about wins, losses, stats, having a guy win the Silver Slugger Award like Luis Arraez did, or have a guy be an all-star like Jazz was. I'm sure that none of that was discussed. It was just see what we have here, try to bring the team together, weed out the guys that don't belong here. That was his job last year, and he did it masterfully.
Yeah, I think he managed well. And then he dealt with injuries too. You talk about your Cy Young pitcher, is out. Jazz, was out
for a long stretch.
Then came back, then went out again. You know what I mean? And that's your superstar.
Even into the playoffs, Luis Arraez was a little bit hurt.
I heard towards the end. That's right. He cooled off, and that was his big bat throughout the year. That got him some big wins, some walk-off wins. Yeah, man, it wasn't an easy stretch there at the end for Skip.
No, and I think that now
he didn't have enough either, though.
For sure, we didn't have enough. Nowhere near it, right?
Just throw that out there.
But now I think with the new GM here, right, a new focus, right, and they were able to see what the results were last year, maybe that changes the perspective a little bit on his job, right, or what his job expectation is for this season. Because I'm sure that the Marlins got a little taste of that playoff success, right? Because you get money from making the playoffs as a franchise. You get a certain percentage of TV rights. So the fact that the Marlins were on playoff TV was huge for this franchise, right? Because they made it legitimate. The last time they had made it was that COVID year, short season. This was a legit playoff season for the Marlins, right? Now I think that that's the expectation. Where they're like, all right, we know that you guys have enough. You have a baller in Jazz. You have a baller in Luis Arraez. You guys have enough to go out there and make it happen and put yourself in a race. Now, are we expecting them to go and win the division? Hell no. Absolutely not. Because like you just mentioned, we know this team doesn't have enough for that.
Yeah, right? And it's a tough division too.
For sure.
We don't have enough to compete with this division.
No, not for
we
the,
do have
not for
enough
that.
to compete in general.
In general. Week in, week out, right? And I think that that's what the expectations are now for Skip and the rest of the Marlins squad. Obviously the playoffs are the target, but I think that being above 500 for weeks at a time, right? Being above 500 when it comes to All-Star break, being above 500 when you're getting into the last final of the season. Like, make sure you're within 7 games of the wild card spot, 5 games of the wild card spot, whatever. I'm sure that those are the metrics now that he's going to be measured up against when it comes to the franchise and the GM. Because again, they have every right as a whole, right? For Skip, for the new GM, for the owner, for all of these guys to be like, there's enough here. Like, we see here from my perspective and from my perspective on each individual level, there's enough here on this roster to win games, right? And play attractive baseball.
Speaking of the roster, do you know all the players on this current Miami Marlins roster?
Not all of them, but I know a good amount.
Should we go through our starting rotation or
Who's
something?
the starting catcher, dog?
Starting catcher? Let's
yeah.
see here. Catcher Christian Battencourt.
All right, cool.
And then we got Nick Fortes.
I don't know. Nick Fortes is probably a rookie or somebody that we got in the trade.
How about first base? Who we got?
I know it's not Garrett Cooper. That boy gone.
Yeah, but it says Josh Bell, Jake Berger, and Luis Arraez. Honestly, I think I like Bell there, dog, because Bell came in last year and had like 15 home runs from the trade. So like played well there. And then that means Arraez is second base and then Berger's at third. So I like that lineup right there.
Infield solid.
I like that infield right there.
Jazz second year at center field. That's going to be nice, right? I think that Jesus Sanchez.
Also, they might move Arraez to the outfield then.
No, I think Arraez is going to play the short or second.
Okay, yeah, no, he'll play second. And then shortstop, Tim Anderson. Okay. Wasn't that a signing that we just had this year?
Yeah, they just recently got him. I think he'll start the season there, right? But I don't think he'll be the everyday shortstop. No, he's great defensively. You know what I mean? In all honesty, it should be Jazz. Jazz is our best shortstop. Our best shortstop, right? Our best shortstop. That's what he played his whole life. But if you're talking about best glove, you got to put him in your hardest position where we don't really have a lot of depth, and that's center field.
So yeah, that's where he is. Left field, Brian De La Cruz. Right field, Jesus Sanchez.
I like that young combination. They all have strong arms and they all can make catches. We actually saw Jesus Sanchez get hurt making catches. We saw Brian De La Cruz get hurt making catches, and Jazz also get hurt making catches. So defensively, we're set up. I think we were set up. The question is the pitching, my boy. And it ties into the last thing I want to bring up about the Marlins before we talk about the Heat. They promoted Max Meyer, who was a first-round pick for the Marlins. He made the opening day rotation. He's going to probably be the 5th starter there. Sixto Sanchez, like you mentioned earlier, he's also making the opening day rotation. He'll probably start in the bullpen. These young guys have to do something to surprise us because they have to be the Marlins. The Marlins are almost in the same situation as the Heat, right? Where they have to find young, cheap talent to help the older guys on the squad or the guys who are the best on the squad right now because they don't have a lot of resources to go out there and pay for it.
Here's our pitching rotation. We have Sandy, who's out. Jesus Luzardo, who's starting opening day. We still got AJ Puck. We got Ryan Weathers. Closer. Trevor Rogers.
Weathers is a relief pitcher. Rogers is also a guy who starts for us, but a middle of the pack guy, right?
Max Meyer, who you mentioned, young guy we drafted, it says he's designated for the minors, so I don't know if he's
definitely made he made it. He made the
called up. So this is an update here. Braxton Garrett, Edward Cabrera, and Yuri Perez.
None of those names really jump out at you except for Yuri. Sixto may do it for you if he puts on. But that's why I'm saying, like, one of these guys have to come out the gate and surprise us.
Who would you pick out of those guys? Who do you think would be the guy this year that surprises us?
I want to say Sixto, but he's been hurt too much.
I feel like I'm tired of having that hope on Sixto, bro. Like, now he has to, like how you are with the with Dolphins and shit. Like, you got to prove it to me.
Prove it to me,
like,
dog.
That's for me with Sixto. It's like all the hype is gone, bro. Like, yeah, like there is a lot of potential there, but now you got to prove it to us.
Yeah,
we're tired of that hit and hope.
Yeah, and I need to see it in the major league level consistently because you're not as young as Max, and that's why I would pick Max, right? Because Max is very young. He's still learning. He has 3 major league starts. This is a kid who has a lot of tools under his belt and can be a powerful pitcher for us, right? Think like a mini Jose Fernandez, straight up. very strong arm, can throw fastballs, good change of speeds and moving it, using the box, right? That corners of the box to get his strikeouts and shit. I think Max can surprise a lot of people. And I say surprise by being available and staying up, right? Even as guys come back from injury, he's pitching good enough that he stays up and becomes a fourth and fifth guy on the rotation.
I'm going to pick Yuri. I think Yuri's that guy that does it, that takes his game to
and becomes like an ace.
Young guy. I think this is the year where he elevates himself to be that player.
That'll be great.
He showed it, man. He had glimpses of it last year. If he can control, the blow-ups,
yes,
you know what I mean, the mistakes,
great call,
and just kind of keep everything in front of him, bro, then I think that kid's primed to have a big season.
No, and he has
be called for like big situations. Like, right. I think that's a kid that, like, if he shows his nerves are in check, we'll call him up to play those big games, those big division games and stuff like that, and start. So
yeah, that's not a guy that you're gonna be like, damn, I'm worried about him starting game one in the playoffs, right? Like, hell no.
I don't know if Max has that yet.
No,
Even though Max is older, I don't know.
No, I just think that Max has to show that he can be a major league pitcher, right? Be a major league starter. You're a first rounder, come out here and ball out. And by balling out, 10-10. That's balling out for a guy like Max, right? Go out there and get 10 wins on the season. Get out of here.
100%.
Yeah, and the first game is going to be tonight, 4:00 or this afternoon, as you guys are hearing it.
Into this, that's right.
Yeah, your boy SoSo's in the building. Yeah, I'll be there.
The Pirates, we got a 4-game series against Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yes, and then we start a 3-game series against the Angels on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which is funny, man, because, I really do believe in getting off to a good start. And if you can go out there and win 4 games out of 6, 5 games out of 7, I think that's a really great start for the Marlins.
Phenomenal start.
But
the Pirates are hungry too, so
yeah, let's see.
We got to bring our A game.
Let's see. All right, let's jump into the Miami Heat real quick, right? Because there's 10 games left in the season. In their last 10 games, these guys are 4-6, 2 wins against a hurt Cleveland team, right? But the losses have been ugly, and ugly in the sense of like how we play. So then, we're all of this is happening, right? And we're falling further back in the race, where we were at a good spot to possibly get the 4th spot, possibly lock down the 5th or 6th spot. And now we're in a spot where the 7th and 8th spot is questionable. And I hate that fucking feeling, dog.
We all do, dog. We all do. I mean, since we last got together, last week with Jaime. Mm-hmm. The Heat played that night, right?
Yes.
Since then, they've had 5 games. We're 2-3.
Yeah. And bad losses too, dog. Bad losses.
Real bad. Like, real bad. The first one was that night we lost to the Sixers, 98-91. And that game I don't remember. The other ones are I'm a little bit more... I know what pissed me off about them.
We lost that game when we were ahead, I think, that Philadelphia
that Sixers game. Did they have him beat that game?
No.
I think that's what it was that pissed me off about that game.
Yeah.
It's like anytime that the Sixers don't have Embiid, I expect us to win.
No, that was Tyree. That was my laptop.
Oh, okay.
That was the game that Tyrese Maxey went off.
Yeah,
he went off.
He had 40 or 30 points. 30, 10, and 8.
Yep. And he couldn't get anybody past 20 points. And Bam had a good game. 20-10, 13 rebounds, 20-13. Good game. But, no Jimmy.
Nope. And no Duncan.
No Duncan.
3 points that night.
Still hurt.
Cold. Then follow that up. Next night, who we play? Where am I?
That's the game we beat Cleveland.
Right, the first game that we beat Cleveland, because we
tight game because they almost came back, right? We needed to hit that Bam 3 to win.
Yep.
Right, and then which was a CAG,
right, which is ridiculous, bro. Like, well, why is it coming down to a Bam CAG? Like,
that's how it goes, bro.
I don't understand.
That's how it goes.
Whatever. Then we play the Pelicans. This game pissed me off.
No, that wasn't the Bam CAG. The Bam CAG was against Detroit.
Oh yeah, it was before. Even worse against the worst team in the league. That happens. But then we play the Pelicans, dog.
Smoked.
And we lost bad.
No, smoked. And then we lose again here at home.
I know the Pelicans are good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to take away from them. They're playing some good basketball this year. But dog, for us to get beat like that, bro.
Let's not focus on other teams.
At home?
Let's focus on the emphasis of the game, right? That game against Cleveland, Jimmy plays, balls out, 30 points. Cool. Next game against New Orleans, limited minutes, plays like shit, 17 points. We get smoked, right? Get smoked at home. Then we play again at home, and it's like, all right, well, maybe we can bounce back. Let's get this dub. Get a really good win, right?
Against Cleveland.
Against Cleveland, we smoke them out. Everybody, we had like 7 or 8 players in double figures. Like everybody was eating. Everything was falling that night.
So 30-point win.
Great. Awesome, right? Then
over 30-point win.
Then we have a 2-day rest, right? Because Golden State's coming into town. And then we don't show up and we get smoked 113 to 92.
But where it happens though, bro, we start off the game.
No Jimmy.
We're pretty even without Jimmy. We're pretty even. Second half, bro, it just gets away from us and we're just never in the games to start the second half.
But let me tell you something, dog. It's really pissing me off that this guy's taking games off, dog.
I mean, I can see that.
Because dog, it's goal time. It's goal time. You know what I mean? And I really hope that it works out for him, right? And he comes out and can put on a fucking Superman effort every single game, right? Play 48 minutes, don't drink water, don't get off the court, don't sit down, like that type of performance that Jimmy gives us. Because that's the playoff Jimmy that's going to have to show up to help this team win. Because there's no way that any other version of playoff Jimmy is gonna help this team win. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of my problem with a lot of Heat fans at the moment. A lot of it is like, oh, well, wait till the playoffs come and then playoff Jimmy and then, wait till the playoffs come. And it's like, my guys, last year the playoffs didn't almost come for us. It took a fucking miracle, right? And a second game for us to make the playoffs. And then, Jimmy had to turn it on because it was no other choice. If we think that that's going to happen again, dog, you're delusional. You're delusional. And I'm not saying because Jimmy is not going to play well or can't play well. But if you think that that's going to, bro, what we did last year was fucking hard and really against the odds. To repeat that is almost impossible. It's damn near impossible. And I don't think that right now how the rest of the team is playing is even going to be close enough of a good effort to help Jimmy.
Right.
Because even if Jimmy goes off, dog, and nobody else helps him, what good is that?
It's inconsistent.
You know what I mean? So, like, that's my whole shit with waiting for the playoffs. No, our playoffs are now. We got 10 games left in the season. Yeah, everybody...
Give us something to feel good about heading into the postseason.
Homie, if you can walk, you're playing.
Right now, we're sitting in the 7th seed, and we've been teetering between that and the 9th seed, just back and forth. I know we haven't really gone below that. We've kind of been in the playoff picture for the last few months here, but still, it's very, very close there. We're tied with the Sixers right now, and we're 1.5 games behind the Pacers, who are in the 6th spot. So we need some wins here, boys. We need to kind of get a little more cushion here.
That 5th spot is almost unattainable because it's 3.5 games away. Right, so you would have to have Orlando take a massive fall and us go on, dog, an 8-2 run here to end the season. It can't be that, dog.
Maybe it happens. What if it happens? So
yeah. It could happen, bro. It could happen 100%.
I mean, the loss against the Warriors, which is the most recent loss, is the most unassuring. Is that even a word? I don't even know. Like, bro, I don't know.
Here's a big difference.
Struggling Golden State team that this year, I know they still got Steph Curry, one of the best players on the planet. I know they still got Draymond and the rest of their, Wiggins and all their role players and all that stuff. But man, for us to get dogged like that at home by the Warriors, bro, when we've been having this slippery, inconsistent streak.
Yeah. And they've been getting smoked. By other teams. Forget about that, dog. You know what's not reassuring? This is the biggest difference that people are I don't want to say not paying attention to, right? But last year, we were a much better team at home. Way above 500. Yeah. Much better team 100%. At home. Dog shit on the road.
But count on it at home.
But count on us at home. This year, we're 18-17 at home.
Look at that, bro.
Yeah, Woody, that's tough. That's tough. That's tough.
When you don't have, I mean, I guess, you know what? We don't need the home court advantage because it won't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this team is built for that.
You feel me?
According to all the Heat in 5, this team is built for that. And we're going to find out. We're going to find out real quick, because 2 things have to happen. They have to go at least 500 in these last 10 games, 6 of them of which are at home. They have to go at least 500 to assure themselves some type of positioning outside the playing game, right? They already clinched the playoff spot, right? I believe, or they're like a game away pretty much from clinching or 2 games from clinching a spot.
Right.
But you got to go out there and win.
Yeah.
Right. And if we're talking about possibly moving up, then you have to go out there and win more than 6 games. So you're already looking at a 7-3 run to close the season.
Well, yeah. So the next 2 games are kind of favorable, right?
That shit doesn't exist here.
It doesn't, but I gotta mention it because we're playing the Trailblazers, who are not great this year. Okay. And we're playing after that the Wizards. So the Wizards also are having their struggles.
Right.
Those are 2 favorable games out the gate for us to bounce back. And the Trailblazers one is at home. The Wizards one on the road. We should be able to win that one. Give us some confidence. The next game after that, the Knicks game, that one has implications.
A lot of implications.
If we beat them, that can screw up their positioning and where they end up, and somebody else there too.
Follow that by Philadelphia,
which has they're right behind us, or tied with us.
A very tough Houston team, a really good Indiana team,
which is ahead of us.
An Atlanta team who would love nothing more than to knock us out of the motherfucking playoffs,
like
right?
We almost did last year.
Yes. And then a very talented Dallas team who's going to be fighting for the playoff lives, right? And then 2 games to finish the season against Toronto. One at home, one on the road. Both at home. Look at that. 3 straight games. Weird. We need every single one.
Yeah, bro. If we, that's the thing. If we go 10-0 in these last 10 games of the season,
I don't know.
The story changes
completely.
Now it becomes, oh my god,
yeah,
the Heat are going all the way again.
Yeah, but what are the chances?
I don't know.
I ain't holding. I'll just tell you this: I ain't holding my breath.
I'm not either. I'm
not holding my breath.
You got to prove. You got to prove. I'm still with y'all. I'm still riding with y'all. This is Heat all day.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? This is Wade County all day.
100%.
But I'm not. If I was a betting man, I wouldn't be betting on the Heat going too far this year in the postseason, man. Honestly,
yeah.
I wish they do. Don't get me wrong; it's different.
I want these guys to make these last 10 games as smooth as possible. Give me some type of reassurance heading into the playoffs. Even if you fucking go on a 3-game winning streak to end the season, cool. I'll take it. I'll take that energy. But give me something positive. This team needs something positive to happen. You know what I mean? In these last 10 games.
Performances from
somebody.
Bam. Give me Bam 40 and 20. Give me a Terry Rozier, another 30-point performance. Give me something. Give me something crazy going into it.
Something.
10 3-pointers by Duncan. You know what I mean? Some shit.
I don't even know if he'll be back before the season ends. Hopefully he is, because we'll need him back. Same thing with Tyler. I don't know if he'll be back.
We need him, bro. We need them both.
Well, let's see how strong Jimmy's Superman cape is. We're gonna find out. Quick honorable mentions. We got the Miami Tennis Open is happening right now here in our backyard. If you guys haven't tuned into that, check it out before the weekend is over. Great event. Bunch of cheap tickets to go out there and just walk around, check out the grandstand, check out the bunch of games going on. It's a vibe. What else?
Panthers, you want to?
Nah. Panthers are on the same shit, man. Those guys have been losing lately, and
a little bit of a skid, but they're still doing well. They're still in a much better position.
We can say, you know how easy it is to do the Panther segment now, and vice versa with the Heat. That we can literally say just swap names, dog. Swap names,
it's crazy,
and that's the same shit.
Crazy the parallels.
Crazy, one is much closer to winning than the other, though. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. One has, I think, a much deeper team. We always talk about that. The Panthers are stacked right now.
For sure.
Still doing well. Still wanting to shout out our Panthers. Let them know we're behind them.
Yeah, pause. No doubt. We are. I think that's it, man. I think we're gonna wrap up there, bro.
We didn't get to talk golf last week.
No,
that was the only thing. Sorry about that. I wasn't on the episode. It was an executive decision that we made at the last minute.
Yes,
to make sure we got you guys the best sounding and the best looking episode that week with Jaime on the show. But with that, we didn't really have a chance to talk golf, but I wanted to. So this is my time to do that. Scottie Scheffler, bro.
He's a beast.
What is going on with that guy? World number one. Won last year, TPC, had some struggles with his putting, comes back this year, adds a mallet to his bag, wins the previous week, and then comes in. Nobody's ever won back-to-back years at TPC Sawgrass.
No, ever.
And he comes back from 5 strokes on Sunday to win.
On the 50th anniversary.
Crazy.
On the 50th anniversary. And you kind of skipped over that big-ass detail of him switching.
Over a lot. It was a big synopsis.
No, for sure.
Short synopsis.
But I wanted to put an emphasis on his mallet and to change from a regular blade to a mallet. I think this is the best version of Scotty that we've seen when it comes to putting, right? Because even his misses were extra tight and he was draining shit. You know what I mean? And this is a guy who self-admittedly he has struggled with his putting. We've seen him miss a bunch of easy putts, big putts.
Bro, he would have won so many more tournaments.
So many more tournaments, right? Big tournaments, right? And now that you see his confidence level, like 20-foot putters, no problem. 30-foot putters, no problem. Like 6 hills on a landscape, no problem. That feels like I didn't watch golf when Tiger was doing his thing, right?
Right.
But I feel like it's that version of it, right? Where like, this guy's untouchable. This guy's untouchable. If he's doing that, he's in his Michael Jordan bag and he's hitting the spin move and going like that.
I will say I understand
Kobe Bryant,
where you're coming from.
He's Kobe Bryant.
You know what I mean? Because we didn't grow up watching golf.
Right.
But it's not even on that level. Tiger was just on a whole nother level.
He's
of
Michael
dominance.
Jordan. He's Michael Jordan.
He was, and like it's Scotty is like, I don't want to say he's like LeBron or Kobe, but you know he's like who's a young buck right now, like a Halliburton maybe, you know what I mean? Like yeah, I mean maybe more, like I don't know, I don't want to compare him to anybody like that, but what he's doing some shit that's Tiger-esque, you know, shit that Tiger did when he was dominating. Granted, you know, we will say that there are some missing players, obviously, because of Liv coming into play. Rom's not there week in, week out. Brooks isn't there week in, week out.
Right.
Cam Smith isn't there week in, week out. Dogs. Some guys that, you know, potentially could, you know, change outcomes of stuff. But, you know, Scotty's just dominating the PGA right now, bro. And it's fun to see, dog, because, you know, it's a guy. It's funny. I saw that meme. Forgot who posted it, but it's his swing, like on the follow through after impact, and his feet are all over the place at impact, and it's like, this is the number one golfer in the world. And it's like, yeah, bro, I like that. That's why I love that too. No, you know me, dog. My swing sucks. So
come on, cuz
obviously he has a much better swing than I do, but it's like, swing your swing, bro. Whatever it takes to get the ball off the ground and in the air and where you want it,
do it.
Do it. Do what you got to do.
Do it. And I love that he brings that approach to a professional level. You get what I'm saying? Because like, there are a lot of guys who try to do the right things in golf, right? Or try to mold themselves into a specific form. So that's not really true to themselves. You know what I mean? And once they let go of that, we see them level up in their play, you know? And I think that Scotty is one of those guys who's probably going to be the best example for that, because everything about his swing is super unorthodox when he's fucking throwing his body around and his legs flailing, foot completely wrong. You know what I mean? Yeah. But this guy's piping down fairway after fairway after fairway.
Nah, he's fun, man. He's fun to watch, and just seeing him in the mix that day on Sunday. You know, he wasn't even in the last group or the first few guys or at the top of the leaderboard. Yeah, you had Wyndham Clark up there. Yeah, you had Matt Fitzpatrick up there. You had Brian Harmon up there. These are all current, you know, top major champions. Yeah, yeah. And, you know, I thought that Wyndham probably had the better chance of them all, and he did. It was just heartbreaking to see that putt lip out on 18 for him. That was tough. That was tough. To force that playoff.
But it just shows you real quick how mentally strong he is, right? That he's been able to compete in these big ass tournaments with the world's best players, and now he's on that level. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Wyndham has definitely elevated himself,
and that's a guy who struggled a lot, right? If you watch the Netflix,
full swing.
You know what's up,
on
right?
The mental side of things.
But when you see it on the course, it's something different when you're watching and you're like, damn. This guy just hit a bad shot, and then boom, show that mental toughness and come out and hit a fucking amazing shot.
Make up for it.
And make up for it, right? Nail big putts, like, and lose a putt and still compose himself, right? And not be like, damn, you know, I lost because of I played bad or whatever. It's like, these things happen in golf.
I just don't know how that putt didn't drop, dog. It would have been so exciting to see. Like, if that putt drops, pandemonium, the whole stadium explodes on 18.
Scotty would have heard it.
We're going back to the 18th tee box. You know what I mean? We're going to replay this whole, dog, like, it would have been raw. It would have been a crazy, you know, finish. But, you know,
we got the Masters in 2 weeks.
Shout out to Scotty on a great victory. To back-to-back weeks where the first place and the second place were the exact same player. Did you know that?
Yeah.
What was the tournament before?
I don't know. I think it was like the WGC some shit. Just check real quick.
Right now. It was the Arnold Palmer in Orlando there it is. At Bay Hill. And Scotty won that one.
Yep.
And then Wyndham was second place. Well, fast forward the week after.
Same shit.
Same exact thing. So now, like you mentioned, we do have the Masters as the next big tournament. So, I mean, like we have a week in between. We'll get into the Masters talk next week's episode, I believe.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit more about that. But golf is
taking off.
It's hot right now.
It's taking off.
So hot.
You can tell by the fucking prices in your local municipal golf course. Oh, yeah. You can tell.
Shrink the game, dude.
You know what I mean? Like, stop watching, boys. Games.
Stop going to golf.
Golf is closed.
Yeah, for real.
It's too many. I'm gonna leave the golf topic on this one note about Scotty, and this is why I think he's more to Kobe, right, than anybody else has been, and this includes Rory, right? The reason why I say that is because this man has been the betting favorite in fucking 85% of the tournaments he's in. The betting favorite, and that just shows you, like, if this dude's just like even a little bit on, he has a real chance of winning. Other dudes have to be on in order to have a real chance at winning against him. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm excited to see what he does in the big tournaments, right? In the majors, because that's when he's gonna be able to really show out against everybody else.
Everybody's gonna be
everybody. So no excuses.
We see the best against the best in those. I love them. I can't wait.
You know what? Talking about golf, Miami Golf Bros Open 2024 is going down. My dog right here. Miami Golf Bros. Go subscribe right now to that YouTube channel. We got the other half of the 18-hole tournament you guys did.
Oh yeah,
that foursome is dropping. So make sure you get that notification by hitting the notification button on that Miami Golf Bros page, man.
Go check it out, man. Subscribe for your boy one time.
Yes, sir. And that lets you know that you got to tell a friend,
to tell a friend,
to tell another friend,
to tell everybody they know,
to go hit that notification on the Sports with SoSo YouTube channel. Make sure you guys are subscribed, sharing it with a friend, and maybe even with a coworker, right? Because we're gonna keep bringing you guys this dope ass content. We have a lot of amazing interviews coming up,
and we got a lot of good stuff on the channel already, from 365 games to interviews at BKFC and other boxing events.
Yes, sir. Mundo Boxing. Go check it out, man. Until next time, y'all.
Peace.